Welcome to 5 Minutes, your quick dive into the wide-ranging world of insurance, technology, and leadership. I'm Miguel Edwards, and I'll be your guide as we explore these topics that are transforming not just the insurance industry, but the business world at large. Along with sharing observations I've made over the span of my career in insurance, technology, and operations, I'll be chatting with some of the brightest minds in business and leadership. Whether you're a seasoned executive or a rising star, an industry expert, or just curious about how technology is revolutionizing insurance, this is your perfect spot for your weekly dose of insights. This is 5 Minutes. When I was in a life space, the holy grail was NIGO and solving the NIGO problem. Yeah. Is that still in play?
With the carriers, I would say yes.
Okay.
For us, we're trying to build our in-house model to make sure we, address the problem even early on, right? Offer the right product based on their risk profile.
Right.
So, I think the biggest issue for life insurance is the rejection, right? Like they get denied of their application. People get really unhappy. So, kind of minimizing that outcome, I think, is what we strive to do to create a better customer experience.
Got it. How are you seeing AI working its way into the underwriting process now from a life perspective?
Yeah, I think AI. I think it's such a right now has a very broad use case, so we still haven't really figured out where is a first point of entry, let's put it that way.
Okay.
We do see more and more customer coming to digital solution from AI search.
Okay.
Right? So from the top of the funnel. So that's interesting. So I think one of the question industry is asking is how do we optimize that? Okay. Is the SEO playbook the right way to address it? I don't know. I don't think anyone has the answer, but it's definitely becoming a more important topic to pay attention to.
Yeah, no, 100%. Do you see any shifts or any improvements in the collaboration around APSs and medical records and prescriptions? Do we see any improvement there? Are we satisfied with where we are? Is there room for improvement?
Oh, for sure, yes. And, for us, we very, the number one priority is a customer experience, right? So we work with underwriting platform that can deliver that. But knowing that, the manual underwriting is still going to be there. If we want to work on the placement ratio, right? The accelerated underwriting model is great to address a good risk, but we still have to find a balance there. But, certainly area for improvement for sure. No one want to wait for 3 weeks.
Exactly.
But then, once we get to the turnaround time for underwriting to like a day or two, then I think, the marginal benefit there will be low, right? So finding that sweet spot, I think, is a lot of, player in the ecosystem and strive to do.
Yeah, no, I got that. That makes a ton of sense. Talk to me a little bit about where you see perhaps advancements in product design and what that might look like.
Yeah, again, I think product will be very much anchored to channel.
Okay.
Every channel has a very specific customer need, right? For example, if it's a channel that's supporting the client of RIA, that might focusing more on like the rollover features. So they need a life insurance product to accommodate that, right? A cash value product to accommodate that. Otherwise, alternative it's use existing product, right, to fit into that need, which is what's it called, square peg in the round hole. I always say the opposite, but square peg into the round hole. So that will just create a lot of friction, higher surrender and all that downstream impact.
Yeah. When you think about data, Dennis, I mean, I know that, for example, in the life carriers that I've worked in, the data, the accessibility of data, understanding the actual data model has always been one of the biggest barriers to modernization, to moving forward. How do you get the data out of the mainframe? You guys sell an IUL product, long tail on that, you've got to make sure that you've changing values every day, all of that stuff. You need to. How do we solve that problem?
Yeah. Actually, my experience with big carriers really speak to that. I spent a couple of years working on data transformation, bringing external team, 50 people team working on mainframe system. I think it's very hard to solve it in-house. So I think it calls for a stronger collaboration across these different players in the ecosystem. Carrier might have to lean into the new entrants a little bit more like us, right? We can bring lean kind of product development methodology. Of course, understanding different carriers have different risk appetites. So, we just got to roll with the punches. But I think the carriers who first get comfortable with this approach probably will find their footing to these new alternative channels.
Got it. Yeah, as the ecosystem is developing, there's more leverage points there. I get that. Thank you for joining this episode of 5 Minutes. If you've enjoyed our discussion, we'd love for you to share it with anyone else you think might find it interesting. Also, please subscribe on whatever podcast platform you're listening on and hit that bell to stay on top of the game with our practical 5-minute episodes. We look forward to seeing you again next week.